Right. We're off and running. I think it is.
I'll go first, you want me to go first?
The more you know, so I'll say.
Okay. 8:11, resuming back to where we left off after the break for the executive session. You finished all your list?
Yeah.
Your turn.
I just had some, about, for the public hearing, like the ballots, hopefully show the sample ballot, that would be good to pass out. And the town manager plan and put both of those on the, website. And I thought we were gonna sign a new warrant.
Is that thing for the town manager plan, is that what you wanna put up?
I had Lynn
Right, because she sent me a copy of that, is that?
it covered, I really haven't looked at it, I assume it's,
that's-
but to
that's
take
the-
all the stuff
right.
out of it so we could
Yeah.
put it on pages, so
I think
yeah.
that's a front and back, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, to make it easier. And then just put the absentee ballot form on the website. So, yeah, that's all I had. Yeah, I'm good. So that they can print it off and, if they want to.
Okay, the warrant, is that the one that you took back tonight?
No, remember, they were talking about processing before election day, that's why. And that it wasn't on the warrant. So,
And they decided not to continue, not to do that, not to change it.
oh, so they're not
It's
gonna
already-
do
it's
that,
already-
okay, then
I
then the
believe
one,
Lynn already posted everything.
okay, so that's what, remember last week,
Right,
they had talked about that, and she was gonna write something up, so she decided not to
decided
do
not
that, okay, that's fine. Okay, that's good for me.
Okay. Boston King we're doing next week, is that right?
yep,
And you're doing the write-up on that?
yeah,
Okay.
yep,
That's on track?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I got a bunch of stuff already.
Trail auction, you have that sheet,
The what?
the proposed trail auction posting,
Almost,
I don't
mobile
have
bid.
it's in your box.
It is? Oh, okay. With all the other papers in my box. I'll get it. You don't want it to. Yeah, I know. She's not in.
If we go to candidate night, can I legally pass out that packet? Because my hours are a matter of public record anyways.
Well, Canada Night is not a town function.
Well, the public
I mean,
forum,
the,
yeah,
the,
whatever.
the public hearing that we do with all the referendums.
That, yes.
I don't, Again, I guess
Can
it's
you
a
check
board
it
thing,
out?
I don't think there's a problem having a packet there for people who wanna take.
I do not have it. It's not in my box.
No.
Nope.
Do you wanna check it?
Yeah, let us talk about it.
Let me know,
Yeah.
if I give you a call.
Yeah.
Well, I went through everything I had.
I thought I stuck it in there.
Push my wrong button.
Not there.
Bye.
Other stuff, but, you know, this is, I don't think it's here, unless it's in here. Tax acquired property, is that it?
It's okay, I just,
Yes, that's there. So,
we need your input.
yeah, this is what we used.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we gotta know what the bid is we're putting on there.
Right, we have to get that from Stacy.
No, that's fine, if this is, cause if this is what Colonial wants on there, we have to put what they want.
Right.
It was
Yeah, that
this,
whole bottom section, I don't think needs to be there, cause they don't need that anymore.
Correct.
right? But what about the 450, no, 3 weeks, she must have changed this already. Yeah,
June 6th, okay?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, this is fine. This is what we did what we used last time.
And I'm assuming that we're gonna open the bid segment,
Yeah,
Is that a meeting?
yeah, that's a meeting night.
because it closes the bids close at 5. And we can open it at 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
We need do we have a date there for a visit? Do we,
No, we did not. I think we settled.
No, I don't think there is. I don't think we did. Yeah, I don't think we did. June 6th is when we are opening it, or they do by June 6th at 5 PM, it says. Is that what we were gonna do?
I just didn't, I thought there was I know we had it open for people to inspect it.
Yeah, it's not in
I
here
don't
though.
know, we probably should do
Yeah.
that.
So which sheet would that go on? So you even part of the official notice, right?
Yeah,
Should be on this one.
Yeah.
yeah,
Property will be available
This
for
is-
inspection on blah, 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 from when to when, something like that.
yeah, we were just gonna do one
Just one time, yeah,
for what, couple hours?
2 hours, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. So if it's due on the 6th, then,
So the Thursday, let's see, before that is,
and where it's located. Is it,
right. Do it on the 29th, May 29th,
what day is that?
that's a Wednesday? In the afternoon, does that work?
Is that gonna make it available for most people
Well, didn't you,
If they wanna bid on the property, they'll be.
yeah, but didn't we, didn't you do it, did you do it later? I know you and Paul went there, but did you do it later in the afternoon, or was it,
I don't remember when we did it.
cause it's not
It
on
was
this
in the
one.
afternoon,
Yeah,
it wasn't in the evening or anything.
no,
though? If you do 4 to 6, I guess,
We could do that,
you wanna do that, do you wanna write that?
yes.
4 p.m., 6 p.m. And it's located, where is it located?
It's at the end of a road, I don't know what.
Okay, cause we
what-
probably
what
put that right there.
is that it's in the front row?
Well, you have to go to yeah, it's, it's hard, I'll have to drive out there and try to figure out how to explain it.
Okay,
Cause it's not really on a lot, it's just kind of,
Yeah, I was, it was kitty
did
house.
they just drag it off?
it's just kind of stuck at the end of the road and everything, so.
Okay. so I get Stacy to, okay. That brings us up to the Maple Estates Road situation. Did you see? Yeah. What's his name? Andy's, there we go. Good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You see his response?
yeah.
It sounded like Scott had no problems.
Yeah, sounds like we're good to go for the road.
Okay.
For that part. For the paving, yeah.
So we can put that down as accepted, and all we need now is the signs.
I would maybe bounce it by the planning board, make sure, I mean, that's Andy.
Oh, definitely, definitely, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Um,
Sarah's working on that end, so. That's why she gave it to Andy, and Andy
Yep.
got back to us.
That was the other thing I forgot to ask Scott about signage. Do you know where he's at with signs?
No, that was on my list too. I had it right underneath it when we got talking about the speed sign. Yep, Maple Estate signage. What are you gonna see him tomorrow? We did that one tonight. We need to make a motion for the expenditure of the trust fund that we used last week.
So we haven't used it yet, correct?
Mm,
Because I thought it went on the credit card. because-
Yes, it went on the credit card, that's correct.
So we need to make a motion to reimburse the general fund
Correct,
from the trust fund.
right.
Do we have that exact number?
I do not have the exact number.
okay.
I know it's 590 something, but I'm not sure what it is. So credit card bill will be,
So we'll have to do that next week then, because we gotta have a number.
so,
That was actually on my list, but I didn't get to it.
that's the sign sheet.
Oh. So is that the amount?
No.
No, oh,
So
okay.
I think that's,
That's max.
I think that's NA now,
Yeah.
and then we'll
Okay.
just do a motion to.
We'll do a
Okay.
motion.
When we get the right thing, okay,
Yeah.
alright,
Let me put it on.
And I would do the motion as trustees of the Shapley Fund,
It's gonna take two.
just because,
It's gonna take two. One's gonna trustees to use the funds, and then the second one would be to pay the bill.
well, we're just trying to transfer the money from the trust to the general fund. To pay the credit card
oh, yeah, okay,
is our regular AP.
Okay,
What I'm just saying is that
yeah,
the trust action is us as trustees of the Shapley Fund, not as selectmen.
correct. Okay, I can get that from Stacy. I trust everybody's already looked at the scholarships.
mhm. Did you write down your choices?
Yes, I did.
I put my notes. We're not saying this out loud, right? Because they don't know until last day,
These initials.
I guess. What if we all have different?
Well, I think we probably do, so,
Oh, 'cause we,
We're picking 2 people?
two.
yes. Cause every year it kind of rotates, there's one from every town and then somebody gets 2 and it's,
Those are my two.
Do any of those 2 match you?
you know, do they match you?
I don't know, I'm over there. Nope. So hold on to your 2. Let me see your 2 first.
Oh,
Nope.
This is not gonna be good. Let's see where we're at.
Those are my 2. And I had a third in case just to,
and was the third any match with
No,
us?
no.
Okay.
Wow, none of them. I had 2 alternatives too, and I didn't. Let's send them down to the 6 then.
When do you have to tell them?
We have to let them know by. Oops. That's what we do.
it's probably on the
Chip
letter
has
here.
it.
Yeah, that's it.
I think we got another week. The 15th or something.
17.
17th.
Oh, we have time.
So,
Second round?
yeah, so second round, so we wanna keep those 6 and then pick,
Give you a clip. That's the best clip I could find it. It's sweet.
the smaller one.
I'm looking. There, that's smaller. We're getting there.
Man,
So that's the live bunch.
so we'll go through those
So
again.
it's the loose ones, huh? Okay.
No,
No, it's
the clip
these.
ones.
The
Oh, it's the
clipped
clip ones, okay. What were, since we were all so different, we probably maybe had all different criteria. So what were the criteria that maybe it would help if we kind of agreed on criteria?
Maybe,
So are we looking at, this aptitude or need, combination? None? Guess who sounds better? I mean, I don't know, I'm just,
Yeah, I guess I'd have to say, when I went through the applications, I was going by, the presentation. What their goals were in their past history.
okay.
That was my criteria.
So I skewed mine a little bit more towards need.
yes, I would think I did too. But we can look those 6 over again, really, or just, you know,
Might I suggest that we rank those 6?
yeah, that's a good idea.
And that way maybe we can,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
between the ones
Yeah.
that we can see.
Yeah,
One being high,
Yeah.
yeah,
first choice, second choice.
yeah,
So if all our 3s agree, then that might,
yeah.
You see what I'm
No,
saying?
yeah, no, I think that's a good idea.
Rank voting, okay, here we go.
rank choice voting, oh.
Oh,
No, it's a good idea. Okay.
I'm just thinking that because, you know, I might pick the same 2, you might pick the same 2,
Yeah.
and we're in the same spot, so something to help us get closer.
When do I do it? Here we go. It's brought to my attention that we do not have a confidential,
Reality,
thank you,
potentiality.
I can't say it, too many syllable words.
Oh,
So Lynn and Stacy put one together and gave me this draft to see if it's something that we want to consider implementing. You can just hold on to that and get back to me next time. Make your changes, or if you don't think it's necessary, we can discuss that as well.
Alright.
Okay.
My initial thought, just real quick, is number D. I'm not sure we can do that with a union.
Yeah.
I think that's something that this would have to get added, this would have to be, you know, added to that, to the bargaining unit contract. Just off the top of my head, just.
cause does it say any of this in the personnel policy?
So that part I don't know.
Yeah,
So if it's a violation, means that those like the violations
well,
would be.
yeah,
Yep. So there may be a way around it, but it may have to be worded a little differently, or
Yeah.
the personnel policy changed. Or amended, and there might very well be something in there for
that's
confidentiality.
why
Worth checking those. Huh. Okay, so let's next one. You can. Kennebuck Savings is coming on the May 23rd to do the little presentation for us. And that's it for now, for me. Mass gathering, we already did. Okay. We're back to the public. You two will have to fight out who gets to go first.
Oh, no, Frank, he said I could go.
Oh,
He's such
okay.
a gentleman. So, I went for a walk the other day, up to Prospect Hill Cemetery. And, I don't know what happened this winter, but there's a whole bunch of like the walls that, not the original rock wall, but the walls that enclose some of the actual private burial areas that have fallen over, and there is now material like actually coming out of it. And I'm a little nervous because some of them are pretty tall, and I don't want burial vaults to start being unearthed. There's also a lot of the stones, actually newer stones that are probably worth a lot of money, that are honestly, Bob, leaning like this in bad places where they're gonna fall over and get broken. So I'd like somebody to address that. Another thing is that, so you guys know I do a lot of volunteering in town. I did not feel comfortable to attend a lot of the budget committee meetings this year because I do my homework. And I don't like being told I can't present that in budget committee where I'm elected to do my homework. But I really want to talk to you about your relief agency choices. I talked to Chief and to JT out here about what I'm gonna present. I asked them to stay, but they were both exhausted. But I've been doing kind of what I'm doing, helping Cindy on the fire department now for 4 years. And in 4 years in a major fire in this town, Red Cross never shows up. I'm getting about tired of the budget committee not listening and continuing to fund the Red Cross when they never show up. They get state dollars, they get federal dollars, and we can't get them to a fire in this town. So we had a fire here on the Upper Guinea Road, last week. And at the end of the night, the fire department's going that way and the other fire departments are going that way. And Cindy and I are standing there with a family of 4 with no shoes on their feet and can't get the Red Cross to get here. Chief finally called Board Up and they came 1-800 Board Up, who's gonna make no money on that because there was no insurance for them to bill. And they came and took care of that family. And the American Legion came over with some shoes for them and some toiletries, and Board Up had to put them up in a hotel. Red Cross did very little for them. They actually did call the next day. I've talked to Lynn about exactly what they did provide. Lynn is a huge supporter of the Red Cross. And she was even a little bit, couldn't believe that that was all that they did for them. I know that the town helped them out, and for that I'm grateful, and the school took a donation for them, and for that, you know, I'm grateful they raised a good amount of money for a school in a few days. But when somebody loses everything, they need a little bit more than like, yeah, here's a couple bucks for food. They need help stabilizing themselves for housing. You can't just pay for 4 days in the hotel and think that you did enough. You didn't. It's not enough. And no matter who the people are or what side of town they come from or whatever, it's not enough. They need housing. They need some kind of stable housing, and they're not gonna find it when they have nothing. Everything they have burnt up in that fire. And I'm not only talking about that one particular family, I'm talking about families all over this town that may be involved in an emergency. And I know that you guys did what you could with what money you had, so I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if you're gonna continue to pay these relief agencies, somebody has to be on top of them, okay? Because you're giving more money to the Red Cross again this year. The Red Cross hasn't been to anything in this town in 4 years, except for to come and take our blood. They have not responded to emergencies here in 4 years, nothing. And Cindy and I can't continue to be at 10 o'clock at night with a family of 4 standing there not knowing where we're gonna put them and a dog and 3 cats. Doesn't work that way. That's not fair. So that's the first one. The second one that I wanted to say to you is something that I've put out there every single year in Budget Committee, and that's the Meals on Wheels. So I'm not gonna tell you who it is in town, okay? I'm not gonna say who it is. I'm going to say the word I, because I identify with it. I do a lot of this myself. This just happens to be another person. I'm just gonna say I like it's my deal, okay? Visiting nurse is visiting with somebody here in town. And they say to her, and she says, you know, okay, so my deal with you is all done. You're all finished with me. I want to know, is there somebody else in my situation I can help? Visiting nurse says, yes, there is. Plenty of people. They give this person a need. So this person goes to visit an elderly woman in this town. And I will tell you that there's more than just this one. Goes to visit this elderly person in town. The person is legally blind. The person is struggling financially, lives alone in a home. She's asked Southern Maine Agency on Aging, but because of the amount of her husband's pension, she's not eligible to have somebody come and help care for her, okay? She asked for Meals on Wheels, figuring that at least somebody was gonna come and see her a couple of days a week, and what she said to this other person was, at least they'd find me, which makes me throw up, basically. Meals on Wheels put her on a waiting list. So I can tell you that we feed a lot of people in this town. In first year I was on Budget Committee, Meals on Wheels was doing 1. I raised a little bit of a stink, then they did 19. This year they're doing 13. And I'm gonna say to you, really, because they get federal funding, they get state funding, and now the town of Lebanon, Maine continues to pump money into Meals on Wheels. And they're feeding 13 people this year. 13. I can tell you I'm feeding more than 13 myself, and with other people here in town, we're feeding a lot more than 13. Okay, but this particular person, when I heard about her, I got very angry because they have trash all out behind their yard because they have no way to get to the dump. Their house is like kind of a disaster because they can't clean it themselves. And when they ask for Southern Maine Agency on Aging to get help, they're told that their husband's pension is too much money. I really don't care. I really don't care. That lady's living all by herself. She raised her kids in this town. I lose it when I talk about her. But at any rate, I can't come into budget committee and confidently have this discussion without somebody telling me I'm being like liberal, whatever the hell he wants to say. He's a fat buffoon and I'm sick of him, all right? I'm not coming, but I'm coming to public hearing, and I'm coming with that lady, all right? So I'm just gonna tell you this. If you wanna continue to keep embarrassing yourself by pumping money into all these agencies that don't give us anything in return, and I've been talking to you about these, not you, I've been talking to people about these for 3 years. I'm tired, I'm getting old, I'm not gonna be here to continue to take care of these people anymore. And if the budget committee wants to keep rubber stamping and okay to check with these people, it's ridiculous. She went to Southern Maine Agency on Aging and she said, I have to go to the doctors, I have to go to these doctors, I have to see this doctor, I have to see that doctor. Southern Maine Agency on Aging that keeps saying to everybody, oh yeah, just tell us who needs to go. They gave her 1 ride a week. So which doctor's appointment does she go to? Which one? Because she has like 3 or 4. So now we have people in town that are going to drive her back and forth to the doctor's appointments. But you guys don't help the people in town. You help Southern Maine Agency on Aging because it's easier to write a check and send it to them and believe that they're doing what they should do. But they're not. They can't. How does an elderly woman that has major health issues survive having 1 free ride a week? Because you know what? If you can't get all 5 of your doctors to give you an appointment on the same day, you're not going to 4 of them. And that's what we're dealing with. And that's what we're dealing with continually. I tried to start a volunteer program. Lynn asked me tonight about, well, maybe we could start a volunteer program. People aren't gonna like get extra insurance, and they're not gonna do that. If you don't want a volunteer program, if you want to make people jump through hoops and whatever, we'll just continue to do it on our own. We don't need your money. We don't need the town's money. We're just doing what we do. But I'm telling you that you're pumping all this money into these agencies that are doing nothing for you, and they're getting state and federal dollars. So why are you giving them more? That's what I want to know. Why are you giving them? Because you know that lady that I was just telling you about? She pays her property taxes. She pays them. And then you use some of that money to give to these agencies that are not helping her at all. And she's not the only one. They didn't help Mary Lane's mother either. When Mary Lane's mother was the Boston Post cane holder, we had to go to Karen Garish and get Karen to help her. And that's the only reason she got the help she did was because Karen stepped in. And it wasn't any of these agencies that take Lebanon relief money and say they're helping. They weren't helping. So I really want you to focus on the fact that you have people here and that you have emergencies that are happening around you, and these agencies that you're paying or that the budget committee is paying. I don't know who's even authorizing it anymore. It's so stupid, but all this money is going out to them. Plus they get federal and state dollars. But when we have an emergency here in Lebanon, they're not coming. They're not coming. So Lynn said she was going to reach out because she's a big supporter of the American Red Cross, which you know I always was, but I'm not. I've lost faith in them. I've been talking to the New Hampshire Red Cross guy. He wants me to train to be a Southern Maine rep for Red Cross. I don't know if I'm going to do that because I just lost so much faith in them. You know, when you call and tell them you have a family of 4 standing outside with no shoes on and their house is burned, and they don't bother to come, and you have to call around trying to find dollars to put them in a hotel room. That's crazy. You shouldn't have to do that. And I don't get paid for it. It's Cindy's job. Like, Cindy was responsible for getting that done. It's her job. And like, we're just standing there. We had nothing. We had nothing to offer them. So thank goodness Chief called board up and got them to come, because other than that, we would have been like going door to door. Hey, you got 15 cents we can borrow from everybody in town for a night at the hotel. You know, we shouldn't have to do that. There should be something here for that, and, you know, I don't agree with just giving people money or just giving people a huge gift card. I tried to stop that from happening because people in that situation oftentimes don't understand need versus want. I do advocate if the town's gonna pay something like that, or the school or anybody else, identify the need and pay for the need. Because I know a lot of people are unhappy with different things that have happened with all of that. And that's what Cindy does all the time. She'll identify a need and she pays for that need. It's not just, you know, if people donate for certain things through the fire department, she identifies the need and pays for the need, rather than just handing a blanket Visa card. So I wanna tell people that in the future, if you wanna donate for something like that, donate through the fire and EMS department, because it's responsible use of your funds. It's not just, here you go, buy whatever you want. And I know a lot of people are upset with that, but any money that was donated to the fire department, I can tell you, has been used only for needs and has been, if we have to go over there every day, we've been going over there every day, but, I don't know what's gonna happen now to them, but, you know, and certainly their life isn't our responsibility, but trying to get them into some kind of suitable housing, I mean, it's like when the first, what you guys paid for was all gone. You know, so what do we do now? So like, oh, well, okay, like, you and your 2 kids and your dog and your cats, like, see you in the, you know, I felt it would have been better served if we had been able to say, you identify housing, we'll pay your first and last month's rent, or we'll pay your first month's rent, or we'll put down the deposit. Some kind of working like that, because then that identifies, you know, here's suitable housing and here's how you're gonna get into it, but there is no long-term help for them. They're just gonna run out of money. And then what? Everybody goes like, oh, well, we did what we could. You know, it's not always good enough, you know, because people aren't always as educated in taking care of themselves after a disaster like that, and they don't always understand the need versus want discussion. So I'm just kind of disappointed that we're still trying to get these people housing, and that the town, and I'm not saying Lynn, because Lynn's done a great job with this whole situation, but the town itself has no disaster preparedness for residents in the town. And to think, everybody goes like, oh, well, the Red Cross is gonna do it. The Red Cross, the nearest Red Cross representative to Lebanon is north of Portland. And they don't count. They just don't count. It took them almost 48 hours to even call that family. And what they offered was very little. So, before you just go pumping money into all these relief agencies, I just would like to see some kind of disaster preparedness plan where you have a contact with the Red Cross, you have some kind of parameters where you know they're gonna be here within 6 hours, let's say, of the initial response. Usually in other places, it's 2 to 4 hours. I would have been happy with 5 hours or 6 hours, as long as they came. But they don't. Or if you have elderly people here and they lose their husband and they need to get to the doctors, where is your plan? Where is your discussion with these agencies on how much are you gonna offer these people? How can we help them to consolidate their doctor's appointments? Because right now, we've got people from like all over the place trying to hustle and get this lady to her doctor's appointments. And the town just knows nothing about it. So that's kind of what I wanna say, and I'll be presenting that at public hearing as well. I mean, you have some valid relief agencies that do a lot of good things. That counseling service there for people that are trauma victims and stuff. There's a lot of good agencies on there. But until you research them and talk to people about what services they're receiving, you have no idea. And so to just keep going like, oh yeah, let's give the Red Cross this much money. You don't even know. They're not even doing anything. You know, so anyway, I always give you a heads up. I never hit you from behind, and I'm gonna be presenting that at public hearing as a concern. So Hopefully you'll have some answers for me. And the cemetery, right, you got that?
You're right.
Okay, two things. One you guys discussed tonight. I'm sure it'll be posted on the website or whatever, but could you tell me a little bit about the mobile home? That you were talking about tonight, that's going up for auction.
Oh, for auction, I don't have the, you want the year and size?
So I'm just kinda curious to know general, I mean, obviously probably taken for taxes, they're not being paid, I assume.
Right.
So I'm catching little pieces, Chip was saying something, but I mean, when is the auction, what's the dates of the auction?
But that's what we were working on right
You haven't got
now.
anything yet, okay.
No, we haven't got, we're working on the posting notice now.
Yeah, it's Colonial, they moved it off the lot, so it's not on a lot anymore, it's just all by itself.
So it'd have to be either put
Has to
on
be
one of theirs
taken,
or
has to be moved somewhere.
Is that the one that was behind Brian's Breaking Muffler,
Yeah,
that was already sold one?
well, it's back in that area, but I don't know whether it's sold once or not, I don't know about that.
Do you have the age on it?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Is there, was this,
That's,
She
that's,
didn't-
No,
she didn't
that's,
open it.
no, she didn't put anything.
it just says, even this one just says mobile home. It doesn't have the,
They would know.
doesn't have a description on that.
Kristen would know. Kristen would probably know, they would know.
But you don't know if this is the one that the town already sold one?
No, as far as I do, it is not in the same location.
Okay, but, yeah, okay.
My 2 minutes.
Hmm?
My 2 minutes.
I'm sorry.
Teasing.
So the one before was upper middle, I believe, and that had to be removed off the lot. Where that went, I haven't got a clue. If they moved it to a lot in Colonial, and then this is the one, I don't know. It didn't look the same.
I wasn't talking about the one on Upper Mill,
Oh.
I was talking about the one that was behind Brian's Breaking Muffler, and then it had like there was a garage on it, and there was a whole big thing about the garage didn't go with the mobile home, and remember that
That was
one?
upper middle.
Last year.
That was like last year,
The
year and a
one
half
we did
ago,
last
that
year.
was upper middle.
What? The one that I went to you with?
Yep.
Not that one,
Karina,
not that one.
Karina and her son visited.
Yeah, not that one, I'm talking about the one behind
But that was
Brian's
before,
Breaking
that
Muffler.
was before our time then.
I think it was before your time, yeah.
Paul, do you know when you might have that together? I mean, I
Well, we're-
I've heard about
I'd
it.
say within a week, right?
yeah, we're
Look for
we're
it
aiming
on the
for,
website, week and a half or so maybe.
yeah, we're looking for 6/6 as a cutoff date for the bid, but that's it.
If you have a specific interest, leave us your email and we'll have one email to you when it's done.
Yeah, I do, okay. Second question, I've only heard rumors, so I don't know what's going on. What's going on with the old school,
Rumors.
the old elementary?
Rumors, so he was here
Last week.
last week. I'm not sure, I don't wanna say what I think I maybe heard, cause I don't wanna miss.
I will, I've heard that's been bulldozed and changed into a parking lot.
Well, that's that, but then I thought that part didn't come out yet, because they were gonna put something behind it, and so I don't know.
Not definite then.
That was the initial concept, because it's gonna be a combined school over here. And so I don't know exactly, because then I thought he talked about using part of it or whatever for, I don't know, so I don't, that official thing hasn't come out.
As a
Yeah.
town of Lebanon and, you know, historically, and I've gone on record this way, I've lived here my whole life. Like you two have, you know, we haven't always made the best decisions looking ahead. And, I just think that would make a great town office facility. If we could buy it back from SAD 60 or whatever the process is, and if it takes a citizen's petition to get that kind of roll in that direction, I just was curious. You guys can make that happen, and as far as the conversation as well. This office is not big enough now, this building. And it's definitely not big enough for what's gonna happen in the next 5 years or less in the town of Lebanon. So I just always thought that'd make a good spot. It's a good community center, we're already using the gymnasium for voting, you know, those kinds of things. Now, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. You got the cafeteria up there that we could actually do senior lunches, so a lot of the issues and things that have come up in the last 6 to 10 years of conversation, I think it'd make a good, might solve a lot of situation, I guess you wanna say. Tom Baldwin ended up doing that And they combined sets up there, and they took over one of the schools, and it works out well for them.
Yeah, my biggest question would be, one of the reasons that they're looking at doing this is because the building is not structurally great. And they're very, very careful how they say that, because they don't wanna say it's structurally inefficient, because then you got kids still in there, so. But the fact that the foundation is moving 6 inches,
Is it, I don't
Here.
know.
it goes up and down.
Okay.
That if you do a walk inside, which I did when they did a tour inside, you can see all the areas that it's cracking and everything else, so.
Okay, yeah, okay, I didn't know that, so that's.
So that's
I
a
was
whole
gonna ask you
nother,
if you did the walkthrough, cause you would seen that.
so, yeah, you might get a few easy years out of it, but then how much money you're gonna put in
Sure.
and structurally, and that's even if they're willing to.
Yeah, that makes sense, though,
So-
I mean, I haven't seen any engineer reports or anything like
So-
that, so. I mean, a walkthrough doesn't really mean a whole lot, I'd rather see an engineer's report, but.
Right, and then-
It does when you look at the walls.
Yeah, it doesn't that bad.
Yeah, and they've had engineers in there to make sure it is structurally safe for the kids,
Sure,
but, I think it is going downhill and it's,
well, it's good to know too, cause that kinda takes it off my, back of my brain, so, yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of a historical building in town as well, 'cause it's.
well, that's the other, right, that is, it does have some
But whatever that means,
memories, yeah, but it's,
it's too bad, but change happens. Okay. That's only two things.
Anything else?
I got nothing,
Motion to adjourn?
second it.
8:57. Thank you for being there.
You're welcome. She'll have to watch the thing to figure